have a good time, baby, can you take it slow, slow, slow? Wine have a good time, we don't need to rush. Greetings, and salutations, one and all. When we home, like in December. How you doing? There's plenty jam. Please remember, in the street is just a dance. Welcome to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stewart's community and find it's Healthy Love Night. Boy, things rough with me, boy. It's Healthy Love Night. We need to slow it down before we end up. I think I just needed to slow it down just a moment. Actually, because I get off to a slow start. I think it's maybe that's it. Everybody watch it, slow it down before we end up inside. I want to say big up to everybody locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio. Welcome to you. If you're locked in from across the pond on One Harmony Radio, top of the morning to you guys over there in the UK. King Genius, Queen Genius, big up your status, much love to you. Wine up a good time, we don't need to rush. I want to say big ups to those who are locked in out of New Jersey. NIE Radio to the world. With New Jersey's finest, the motivator. Much love, bro. I want to say welcome to those out in New York. Exhibiting the power of music. An island worldwide. Welcome to you. China Nicole, Gary, and the Jump Out production crew. Much love to you guys. Blessings, blessings, and more blessings. I want to say big up to those who are locked in out of Long Island, New York. Hanging out on Reggae Pulse Radio. Are you feeling the pulse? Do you have your finger on the pulse? Big ups to DJ Atomic Force and the crew. Everybody watch it, slow it down before we end up inside the big truck, jumping all over the town. Slow it down. I know you walk. I want to say big ups to those who are locked in on the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. Fast on the road, we not alone. Them thing is for when we home. Big ups to you, Mr. Lindsay. Veteran in the business. In the street is just a dance. Keeping South Florida and the rest of the world locked. Alcohol, chasing with ice. Everything nice. You keep doing it all night. I think we need to slow it down before we end up. Big ups to those who are on PEMGTV.com. Slow it down. I know you walk on top the big truck. Everybody watch it, slow it down before we end up inside the big truck, jumping all over the town. Slow it down. I want to say much love to the massive locked in on Facebook Live. Everybody watch it, take it slow. Wine up a good time, baby, can you take it slow? Did I say big ups to those on Clubhouse? Yeah, much love to those on Clubhouse. Have a good time. Those on YouTube Live. Big ups to you. Now, as a reminder, if you're locked in on Clubhouse or on Facebook Live,
It's only a segment broadcast, so don't get too comfortable. Use up the link that is pinned in the comment section in the description. Come on over to kevinstew.com where we're live and in living color.
You pay for your own costume, you pay for your own, yeah. Anything on this road is yours, you don't intend to share.
As a reminder, I hope I had said it before. We'll be making some changes. And so we're down to one live broadcast per week. And each week it's a different live broadcast. So 1 week it will be community and finance. The other week it will be healthy love, like this week. And next week it's gonna be real talk. That is live. Other nights we'll be doing rebroadcasts, and it's because I had to make adjustments in my schedule. I'm in training on a new 9 to 5 so that I can keep this going. And I had to make sure that certain things are in place and certain things are taken care of. And so I had to make the adjustment. So tonight we're live and in living color here on Healthy Love on the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. I do want to say thank you to my segment sponsors. They have stuck with me all along, and I truly appreciate of them. Thank you to Pulse Media Group. When being in a moment is price, let's go ahead and give them a call. They can take care of everything you see here on kevinstew.com and much, much more. So you want to take care of some videos, some photos, some streaming, throw in some ads somewhere, give them a call, 754-999-1140. That's 754-999-1140. They even do a little bit more than that because they host my website. So you have a website, you can have them host yours too. And then they can host your website and then stream your event live on it. What kind of event? A church service, a wedding, a funeral, a party, a graduation, a seminar, you name it. A broadcast just like this. They got you. Call them up, 754-999-1140. Tell them Kevin Stew sent you. Want to say thank you to Althea and her healing heavenly hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you, bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience. Give her a call, 954-655-9000. That's 954-655-9000. And again, she comes to you, Palm Beach, Broward, Dade. Yeah, so that's all over Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. And she only has one request outside of paying her. It's that you get off her table and go sleep somewhere else when she's done. It's called the Kevin Stew class. Call her up. Tell her Kevin Stew sent you. Want to say thank you to the Global Base. With the Global Base, you get over 30 years experience in the music industry. With public relations, doing artist management and bookings, taking care of your events as an event planner, marketing and promotion, production, and more. Give them a call, 954-804-8199. Ask them what they can do for you. You can check them out online also at the Global Base, DA Global Base. Call them up. Tell them you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Want to say thank you to McNeil Trucking. McNeil Trucking, your goods are in good hands. They're a licensed and insured mover in the state of Florida and veteran owned too. So you're gonna move from the Keys to Jacksonville, from Naples to Palm Beach, from Pompano Beach up to Pensacola, and all points in between. You wanna put some things in storage? No worries, they got you. You may not have the manpower, you may not have the transportation, but you do have the name and the number. McNeil Trucking, 954-406-9740. That's 954-406-9740. Tell them you heard about them from Kevin Stew. Schedule your appointment and relax. Inside the big truck, jumping all over the town, slow it down. I know you walk on top the big truck. Everybody watching, take it slow. The son of GBM Neutron. Have a good time. The track is called Slow It Down. I really love this mass, but we moving a little fast. On the road, we not alone. Tonight in Health Love, we're talking about sleep apnea. Same man, his vibe is plenty jam. How familiar are you with the condition? Everything nice. Alcohol, kissing with ice. Everything nice. As a reminder, the phone line is open. 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. Inside the big truck, jumping all over the top. That's 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram from anywhere around the world. Get you in touch right here, live and in living color into the studio. Of course, you can jump into the stew pot. Where is the stew pot? Well, you find it on kevinstew.com. What is it? It's what others call a chat room. But because we're fancy over here on kevinstew.com, we call it the stew pot. It's where we keep things interactive and bubbling. So come on in, add some spice and flavor to the broadcast. On that note, I want to big up those who are locked in on kevinstew.com, the home of the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment. I invite you all to call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Anything on this road is yours. You don't intend to share. Y'all don't say it before. Let me make it clear. You know the info is good for everybody, right? So we're talking sleep apnea. Everything nice. You keep doing it. Now, as we talk health all the time, one of the things that we emphasize on is eating right, throwing in some meditation, and sleeping right. And like GBM Neutron said in the track that kicked us off, you got to slow it down sometimes. But what exactly is happening when you slow down to the point that you're not sleeping well? Now, yeah, that might sound a little bit crazy, right? Because you've slowed down, so everything should be going well. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way all the time. And with that, here comes sleep apnea. Now, for those who don't know, sleep apnea is a quite common condition. And although it is common, it's actually pretty serious. It is, according to Very Well Health, marked by pauses in breathing or shallow breaths while you sleep. Now, occurring up to 5 or more times per hour, breathing pauses may last 10 to 20 seconds or even longer. And sleep apnea is a condition that often disrupts sleep, resulting in poor sleep quality. And as a result of poor sleeping quality, you end up with daytime sleepiness. Now, Cleveland Clinic or myclevelandclinic dot org says sleep apnea is a condition that causes you to stop breathing while you're sleeping. And the word apnea comes from the Greek word for breathless. Sleep apnea happens because you stop breathing in your sleep. And this happens either because of blockage of your airway, which is obstructive sleep apnea, or because your brain doesn't correctly control your breathing, which is central apnea. The resulting lack of oxygen activates a survival reflex that wakes you up just enough to resume breathing. Now, while that reflex keeps you alive, it also interrupts your sleep cycle. And that prevents restful sleep and can have other effects too. Effects like putting stress on your heart that can have potentially deadly consequences. Sleep apnea can happen to anyone. This means, so it's not that only old people have it. It can happen to anyone. Infants, children, older adults, none are immune. Obstructive sleep apnea is more common in certain circumstances and groups of people. Before age 50, it is more common in men and people assigned male at birth, or AMAB. AMAB, if you want to put a pronunciation to the abbreviation. After age 50, it affects women and people assigned female at birth, the AFABs. And this happens really at the same rate. So it's about even for men and women. People are more likely to develop it as they get older. If they have excess weight or obesity, it strongly increases the risk of developing it. It is more common in people who are Black, Hispanic, or of Asian descent. Now, central sleep apnea, and this is the sleep apnea in a whole, I guess. But central sleep apnea is most common in certain groups of people. People who take opioid pain medications, adults over the age of 60. People who have heart conditions such as atrial fibrillation or congestive heart failure. For some people using CPAP or who have obstructive sleep apnea, this can trigger the development of central events known as treatment emergent central sleep apnea. So having I guess you'd call it the regular sleep apnea, can lead to, so this is your obstructive sleep apnea now. Having that going on could actually lead to having the the central sleep apnea. I guess it's psychological effects that would contribute to that, which is interesting in and of itself. So, because using a machine that is designed to help you with sleep apnea can trigger a sleep apnea that you're going to need to get a different type of treatment for. When people live at high altitudes, it can also cause central sleep apneas to occur. It would be interesting to find out what's the connection with high altitudes and the mechanisms of the brain that would contribute to central sleep apnea. Are you as fascinated about it as I am? Well, we won't get into that depth tonight. Sleep apnea is, well, according to clevelandclinic.org, sleep apnea is uncommon but widespread. Now, I guess it can cover the tool, but according to Very Well Mind, it is quite common. So I don't know what the disparity is here, but experts estimate it affects about 5 to 10% of people worldwide. Now, with that many black people in the world, the 5 to 10% that it affects, since if it's going to affect primarily black people, and there are so many black people in the world, how is it that it only affects 5 to 10%? Okay, it's their statistics. I'm gonna leave it there. Now, to understand how sleep apnea works, it helps to know a little bit about the human sleep cycle. Sleep happens in multiple stages. So let's touch on this for a moment. And if you know about it, let's talk. If you know someone who is diagnosed with sleep apnea, please share what your experience is like with that. 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. You can call, text, WhatsApp, Telegram from anywhere in the world. 773-789-7839. Of course, you can jump into the Stew Pot on kevinstew.com and give me your feedback. You can remain anonymous when you go to the Stew Pot. So you don't, but you can also give your name. We only ask that you keep it respectful, and you don't need to register either. So no need to offer a blood offering, your firstborn, an internal organ, nothing like that. Just go to kevinstew.com and you are in. So stages, the sleep cycle happens in multiple stages, and stage 1 is light sleep. This is a short stage that begins right after you fall asleep, and it accounts for about 5% of your total sleep time. So that is where you start going off to sleep and you hear weird things. After that, you hear nothing, right? That light sleep stage, that is stage 1. Stage 2 is your deeper sleep, and this stage makes up about 45 to 50% of all the time you spend sleeping. And this number goes up as you get older. Now, stage 3 is your slow wave sleep. And this is the deepest sleep stage, making up of about 20% of the time you spend sleeping. This one actually goes down with age. And it is very hard to wake someone in stage 3 sleep. And waking up directly from it usually causes sleep inertia. This is a state of mental fog and slowed thinking. Parasomnias like sleepwalking and sleep talking would often happen in this stage. And then you have REM sleep. REM, an acronym for rapid eye movement. And this stage is the stage in which you dream. This is when a person is in REM sleep, you can see their eyes moving beneath their eyelids because they're dreaming. When you fall asleep, you typically enter stage 1 and then move into and cycle between stages 2 and 3. After cycling between those stages, you ultimately go into REM sleep and start dreaming. After the first REM cycle, you start a new cycle and go back into stage 1 or 2. One cycle normally takes about 90 to 110 minutes before another cycle begins. Most people go through 4 or 5 cycles per night, assuming they get a full 8 hours of sleep. Some people, they go through the sequence once and then it's time for them to take on the next day. Rough. Yeah, I know. Now, your brain constantly monitors your body's status and adjusts your heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing. Your blood oxygen levels can drop when you stop breathing because of either apnea or hypopnea. And we're going to look a little bit more at hypopnea in a minute. But with apnea, like we said in the description at the beginning of the broadcast, this is when you stop breathing while asleep or have almost no airflow. It combines the Greek root a, which means not or a, and apnea, which refers to breathing. Combined, it means breathless. So that's where you get the apnea from. Now, hypopnea, it combines the Greek word roots hypo and pnea. And the root hypo means low or under, not hyper, hypo. And combining the two words mean under breathing or low breathing, which means you're not breathing enough to maintain oxygen levels in your blood. Either way, not good. Your brain reacts to blood oxygen drops from either apnea or hypopnea by triggering a fail-safe like reflex, waking you up enough for you to breathe again. And once you resume breathing, your brain automatically tries to resume your sleep cycle. This is probably why a lot of people don't know that they have gone through an episode like this because, well, you're asleep. The more severe your sleep apnea is, the more often you'll experience these interruptions, or you'll have them. You won't necessarily experience them because you don't know. The apnea hypopnea index, or AHI, is the average hourly number of apnea or hypopnea events, the times when a person stops breathing. The AHI is the main factor determining the severity of sleep apnea. And you have different levels of severity. And when we come back from the break, we're going to look at what those levels are. As we go off on the break, as usual, I'd like to remind you to go get your copy of the audiobook. Last year, I went off on an adventure and narrated an audiobook. Very first one that I've done. And it's available for sale everywhere. So, quickest way to get to it, go to kevinstew.com and you'll see an image, the book cover image. And you can click on it and it'll take you exactly where you need to be to get your copy of the audiobook. It is titled Empowered: Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. It is authored by Jonathan Field. And you can find an episode of Community and Finance in the archives with me talking with Jonathan Field, the author of this book, about this book. So go get your copy. Empowered: Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. And you could get a copy for someone else or just get a copy and gift it to someone. Either way, everyone will be more grateful that it happened. You'll be grateful that you gifted someone something, and someone will be grateful that they got something from you. So get your copy today. Empowered: Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Ladies, lovers, lovers of the music, it is here, the brand spanking new album from Ed Robinson and Ian Sweetness, a tribute to Teddy Pendergrass. Amazing. 10 blazing tracks, 2 amazing singers going hit for hit, classic for classic. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson. Oh man. It's out now. Available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your music, it is there. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, brand spanking new, Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson. Ladies, gentlemen, you've got to have this in your collection. Get it now. Available everywhere. Bruv, my last baby already gone off to college, mate. Is what this is send come gimme, man. Is a big album still, I love it. Big up Ed Robinson, Ian Sweetness, but this better come with a contraceptive.
It's Christine representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin's Stew and the night shift radio show. Yo, it thing out the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa, DJ Kevin's Stew have the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin's Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christine. This is a hot it up. Loud. Kill the beast.
Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Wake up to start my day off. Thank God for my whole life. Go outside, sun is shining. Take a car drive to a nice beach. Not a worry in the world, just me and myself. Not a worry in the world, left my problems at home. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. Say love, we should meet up at the movies around 3, love. What you wanna see? What you wanna eat? Let's go have a drink. Endless possibilities. Not a worry in the world. Just me and my girls. Not a worry in the world. We just came to have fun. Life is good.
The sound of Rachel Davey bringing us back from the break. A track called Life is Good.
Life is good. Life is
So life is actually great especially if you're living it the right way. And not everybody gets to really live their life to its fullest. And believe it or not, it could be something as simple as getting quality sleep, which could be affected by sleep apnea. Whether you know it or not, this is something that could very well happen. If you know someone that was locked in on Clubhouse or on Facebook Live, I didn't announce it, but it happened. We parted company as we took the break, which we normally do. So everything is happening on kevinstew.com and affiliates. So if you're listening on TuneIn, on the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, or you're listening by way of any of the affiliates tonight, you are fine. You're good to go. If not, kevinstew.com is the place you want to be. You have 2 options to watch and listen. Well, you have 2 options to watch. You have another option to listen live. You have the video player that's embedded. You have a YouTube player that's embedded on the website, both on the website, and you have a tune-in link that is embedded on the website. So you don't need to go anywhere else, really. Everything is right there. And if you're so inclined, there's also a contribute button on the page where you can contribute to the development and the continuation of the broadcast, the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, and what happens on kevinstew.com, things that we get involved in. So that's a good way to help to share your love, if you want to put it that way. Now, before we went off on the break, we mentioned that sleep apnea has different levels of severity. And that is what we're going to get into right now. Again, numbers to call and text 773-789-7839. You can reach us from anywhere in the world by way of WhatsApp, Telegram, or straight dialing and texting. So 773-789-7839 is the number that you can use. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now, those of you who are watching. 773-789-7839. The severity of sleep apnea. You have mild sleep apnea. And this level means a person, they have an AHI between 5 and 15. What does that mean? It means they have between 5 and 15 apnea or hypopnea events per hour. However, healthcare providers also consider symptoms at this level. And if you don't have any other symptoms, they may not consider it severe enough to treat. Then you have moderate sleep apnea. People with moderate sleep apnea have between 15 and 29 episodes per hour. That means a person who sleeps 8 hours, stops breathing, and or wakes up between 120 and 239 times. Now, that sounds like it could really disrupt your sleep. It can really affect the quality of sleep that you're having. Then, if that is moderate, what else do you have? Well, you have severe sleep apnea. And this is where you wake up 30 or more times in an hour. That means people stop breathing and or wake up 240 times or more during a full 8 hours of sleep. Now, if you're waking up that many times, how much sleep are you really getting? Well, yeah, I won't even get into the measure of quality sleep, but how much sleep are you getting at all? Obstructive events, which are very short-lived, can affect any stage of REM sleep. The most common is between stage one, in stage 1, 2, and REM. And that's why it's common for people to not remember apnea events, which means they may not know that they have a problem until the symptoms are noticeable. Central events are most common in stages 1 and 2 of sleep, but really can happen in any stage of sleep. So, how do you know that you have sleep apnea? What are the symptoms? What is it that is looked for by your medical professionals? Well, there are many symptoms. As a start, just know that there isn't any one or two things that they look for. There are many symptoms, and some are easier to spot than others. They include feeling tired or exhausted when waking up. And this happens even after a full night of sleep. People with sleep apnea commonly feel extremely tired. Then there's daytime sleepiness, which I guess makes sense because you're waking up feeling tired. In more severe cases, it can cause drowsiness during driving, working, or other activities. My father had sleep apnea, and it actually caused him to write off a vehicle. Now, that was pretty unfortunate because it was a really nice car. It didn't kill him. It shook him up a little bit, but it was a matter of concern. My youngest brother, I believe, also has this problem because he sometimes fall asleep at the wheel too, just like my father did. Now, I've never fallen asleep at the wheel. I've driven all over. I've never fallen asleep at the wheel. I've driven for various distances. It hasn't happened to me. But it has happened to my youngest brother. So this daytime sleepiness. Now, I can tell you, I do have that. So, do I have sleep apnea? Probably. Snoring is another common feature with sleep apnea, but it isn't something that happens in all cases. You can also have sleep apnea without snoring any at all. There are mood changes. So depression and anxiety are common symptoms of sleep apnea. Then you have disruptions in brain function. These can include memory loss, trouble concentrating, or other brain-related issues. Waking up repeatedly in the middle of the night. Well, I do that because I have to use a bathroom. I drink a lot of water. But these symptoms might be harder to notice because people usually don't remember waking up or why they woke up. Well, that's my reason for waking up. But people who do this often remember waking up for another reason, like heartburn or needing to go to the bathroom. Well, that probably explains me. Pauses in breathing while asleep that others may witness. A spouse, a partner, or other loved one may notice these symptoms while you're asleep. Maybe a roommate, one of your children, somebody else in the house. Especially if you're a snorer. They don't hear that snoring when you're always snoring, and they go, oh, relief. And then they go, wait, is it really that he stopped snoring or she stopped snoring? Or did they just stop breathing altogether? And then it starts back and I go, oh, well, I guess they just stopped breathing. There's unusual breathing patterns, or Cheyenne strokes breathing, CSB. It is a distinctive breathing pattern that can happen with central sleep apnea. CSB causes fast breathing that gets deeper and then shallower again until breathing stops altogether. After not breathing for several seconds, they start breathing again. Then the pattern starts all over. Hey, SP117. That much interruptions in sleep must have negative effects. Yeah, I would say, which is how it affects the quality of sleep, because you may not be aware that you were awakened that many times, but your body feels it. It happens, and if it happens, it means you're going through something. So you have the experience. Later on in the day, it's going to show. one way or another. You're gonna feel drowsy and wonder, why is it that I'm so drowsy? What is it that I'm not doing? What is it that I'm not taking? Well, what has changed? Well, maybe you're just not sleeping right. Maybe you probably need to get a loved one to come sleep in your room or sleep in your bed, or set up a camera that will run all night so you can record what your sleeping is like. Do something. If you're an insomniac, if you have night sweats and feeling restless at night, if there, you can have sexual dysfunction. So what are we looking at? Symptoms. So insomnia is a symptom. Sexual dysfunction is a symptom. Waking up feeling short of breath or like you're choking, that's a symptom. Headaches, especially when waking up, that's a symptom. So these are things that you can look out for. So when a person sounds like they're gasping for breath or choking in their sleep, they need further checks. Well, basically, yes. Sleep apnea in children can happen in slightly different ways. The symptoms of sleep apnea in children include hyperactivity or trouble focusing or performing poorly in school. And it can look like symptoms of ADHD. So when that doctor is going to prescribe ADHD medicine without having the whole story, because as parents, when we take our children to the doctor, we need to give as much information as possible. And when we give this information, we need to ask as many questions as possible when the doctors have given their diagnoses and decide that they're going to write a prescription. It is our duty as parents. But they have this hyperactivity. The children may have loud snoring. There may be bedwetting, frequent arm or leg movements while asleep, sleeping in unusual positions or sleeping with their neck extended. There may be reflux or heartburn, acid reflux or heartburn, or even night sweats. All these things could very well be happening with your child, and they're symptoms of sleep apnea. Hey Pat, how you doing? At this time of the night, you're making cabbage and carrots with curry chicken and roti. Come on, Pat. And then you're gonna not leave any for me? The love. But thank you for sharing, though. That's a different level of love. The fact that you shared that you had that and you thought of me, I appreciate it. Thank you. So here's a multi-million-dollar question. What causes sleep apnea? Well, it usually, according to Cleveland Clinic, it usually has specific causes. And there's evidence that it may run in families. Overall, there are 3 main forms of sleep apnea, with some differences in how and why they happen. There are obstructive sleep apnea, central sleep apnea, and mixed or complex sleep apnea. Yeah, I mentioned the first 2 earlier, but when I mentioned that you could have a combination, I didn't think anybody recognized that it was actually one of the types of sleep apnea. Now, the obstructive sleep apnea is the more common form, and it happens when muscles in your neck and head relax while you're asleep, causing the surrounding tissue to press on your windpipe. That obstructs air's ability to pass through it. Central sleep apnea happens because of a problem in your brain. Under ordinary circumstances, your brain manages your breathing all the time, which includes when you're sleeping. Central sleep apnea happens when your brain doesn't send signals to keep breathing related muscles working. So apparently your brain has fallen asleep also. Central sleep apnea can happen for many reasons. Could be heart failure, low blood oxygen levels, which is also called hypoxia. And that could happen because of high altitudes. Nervous system damage, especially in your brainstem, which is what manages your breathing, or parts of your spinal cord. Treating obstructive sleep apnea initially with CPAP. Now, it typically goes away with consistent CPAP use, but this is listed. Then there's nervous system conditions like trophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. We very seldom use the full word amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Very seldom. So I guess whenever we get to use it, we should, right? With mixed complex sleep apnea, it's a combination of both obstructive and central events. Sleep apnea is diagnosed usually by a healthcare provider asking questions about your symptoms and your history. If they suspect sleep apnea based on your symptoms and answers, they'll more than likely want you to undergo testing for sleep apnea. So, what tests are they going to want you to do? Well, the most common tests for sleep apnea include an overnight sleep study, which is called a polysomnogram. And this is an overnight test where you sleep in a medical facility, often known as a sleep lab, that's specifically or specially equipped to be as comfortable as possible while monitoring your sleep. This test involves sensors that monitor your heart rate, breathing, blood oxygen levels, brain waves, and more. Experts consider this test the gold standard for diagnosing sleep apnea. Then there's home sleep apnea testing, and this form of testing allows a person to complete a sleep study from the comforts of their own home. It is similar to an overnight sleep study, but doesn't involve brain wave testing. This test can diagnose central sleep apnea and is usually not an option when providers suspect more severe sleep apnea, or if you have other sleep disorders or medical conditions. Often, when a home study doesn't show sleep apnea, experts recommend confirming this with an overnight sleep study. So, is there a cure or a treatment for sleep apnea? Well, apparently, according to Cleveland Clinic, there are many approaches to treating sleep apnea, depending on the specific type of sleep apnea and how severe it is. While none is a cure, they can help prevent events or reduce how often they happen or how severe they are. Many treatments should be part of your daily or nightly routine that can ultimately reduce or even eliminate sleep apnea effects on your life for as long as you use these treatments. And possible treatments include your conservative or non-medical treatments. You have positive airway pressure and adaptive ventilation devices, oral appliances, your mouthpieces that come into play, nerve stimulators, surgery, and medications. The medications are typically for central sleep apnea. With your conservative treatments, you have non-medical treatments or approaches that typically improve obstructive sleep apnea or resolve it. And these are not cures, according to Cleveland Clinic, but they can reduce apnea to the point where it stops happening or isn't severe enough to cause symptoms. Well, if it stops happening, aren't you cured? It's just the way my mind thinks. So, let's look at this real quickly. Let's go through this before we take the next break. Weight loss. So some conservative treatments for sleep apnea. Weight loss. A 10% decrease in body weight can significantly improve sleep apnea for those who have excess body weight or obesity. That wouldn't work for me. Position changes while sleeping and sleep aid items. So sleeping on your back makes apnea more likely to happen. Special support pillows and similar items can change the position in which you sleep, keeping you off your back. So soft tissue doesn't press on your windpipe and block breathing. Then there are nasal sprays or adhesive strips. And these over-the-counter products improve breathing by making it easier for air to travel through your nose. While they can't help moderate or severe sleep apnea, they can sometimes help snoring and mild sleep apnea. Treating underlying conditions, such as heart failure, this can improve central sleep apnea. But sometimes isn't it the sleep apnea that is causing the heart failure? Well, I guess if you're treating one, you're treating the other. Then there are medication changes. So working with your doctor to decrease or stop opioid pain medications may be able to improve or even resolve central sleep apnea. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to look at positive airway pressure, or PAP, and adaptive ventilation. So go ahead, call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Call up somebody, tell everybody, because the information is good. We're talking about sleep apnea. And if you missed it, don't worry. It will be available on kevinstew.com by way of the podcast or the YouTube replay. So visit kevinstew.com and you'll see the full broadcast available to you. All right? We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew. Hey.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Making great music is one thing, sharing it with the world, that's another. Let the professionals at Reggae Global Entertainment help you to another level. Specializing in artist management, booking, public relations and marketing, and promotion, Reggae Global Entertainment can help you with event planning, websites, photography, and video production, press releases, legal services, and graphic design. They can even help you with music production, so you can get the sound that you want every time. Call Reggae Global Entertainment at 954-804-8199. That's 804-8199. Or visit them online at reggaeglobalentertainment.com.
MRE Entertainment, in association with VPAL Distribution, presents the brand new hit single.
I'm Robert French, and you're listening to my new song, Every Day of My Life.
Now available on all major digital platforms.
Every day of my life will be. I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life always. I just loving you. Every day of my life will be. I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life always. I just loving you.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Yes. Akar Mantino, I'm making notes right now. You are locked in to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift.
Am I really free to be really me? The real I am, right here I stand. How will I pay when I have to say goodbye to the lonely way? There's no turning back, it's not an option.
The sound of Zayla Trinity. track is called Fly. I'm glad you're quite relaxed, Pat. And I thank you for leaving some roti for me. I love roti.
Fly to your heaven.
So, like I said, we're going to be looking at positive airway pressure, or PAP, as we address this issue of sleep apnea and look at some of the treatments. Now, positive airway pressure is a method that uses a specialized device to increase the air pressure inside of your airway while you inhale. And this method can be used to treat obstructive, central, and mixed sleep apneas. Pushing pressurized air down your windpipe keeps it open so you can breathe. These devices push air through a hose that attaches to a special mask that you wear on your face while you sleep. Masks can cover your nose, mouth, or both. And there are many different types of styles to choose from. The best known positive airway pressure device is the continuous positive airway pressure, or CPAP machine. Now, there are other types of PAP machines, and you can look around for those. These include your adaptive servo ventilation devices and others. These devices increases the air pressure inside of your airway and lungs while you inhale. So it keeps the surrounding tissue from pressing your airways shut. And then you have all the others that we listed, the oral devices, the nerve stimulators, surgery even, that comes into play. And with surgery, you're talking about different types of surgery. There is one procedure that uses radio frequency to reduce soft tissue around the upper parts of your windpipe. Then there is removing your tonsils. There is a procedure to remove your uvula, which is the thing that when you look at the back of your throat, it hangs down looking like a teardrop. Yeah, that. So there's that surgery to remove that. There is jaw surgery, and there's nasal surgery. And so those are all for your obstructive. And then you have medications that they give for central sleep apnea. There are some natural remedies for sleep apnea that I want to touch on before it time gets too late and we run out of time. So I don't want to miss that. So far, as we know it, scientific support for the claim that natural remedies can treat sleep apnea is actually lacking, just so that you know. And I think this information was last updated in 2020. And this according to Very Well Health. So according to science, the support for the claim of natural remedies is lacking. Doesn't mean that there are no natural remedies. Because of course there are some of us that would prefer to go natural before going pharmaceutical, because of whatever reservations you may have relating to the pharmaceutical industry or your experiences with someone else. But starting off this list is acupuncture. and it is one of the few types of alternative medicine that shows promise in the management of sleep apnea. However, most of the studies testing acupuncture effectiveness as a sleep apnea treatment have included only a small number of patients. In one study published in 2009, researchers assigned 30 people with obstructive sleep apnea to treatment with 3 to 5 acupuncture sessions per week. After 30 sessions, the patients showed significant improvement in factors such as hypoxia, the medical term that is used for the absence of oxygen. There's a 2016 review of studies of acupuncture treatment for obstructive sleep apnea found only 6 randomized control trials, but concluded that manual acupuncture and electroacupuncture was effective in improving the apnea-hypopnea index and oxygen saturation as compared with controls. However, 4 of the 6 studies were considered to be at high risk of bias. Then you have herbs. And although you have herbs like passion flower and valerian, these are sometimes recommended in the treatment of sleep apnea. There's no evidence that any herbal remedy can help treat disorder. Well, no recognized scientific evidence, apparently. Supplements have been tested for safety, and since dietary supplements are largely unregulated, the content of some products may differ from what is specified on the product label. Also, keep in mind that the safety of alternative medicine in pregnant women, nursing mothers, children, and those with medical conditions or who are taking medications has not been established. And supplements may contain contaminants, with the US FDA identifying over 700 supplements between 2007 and 17 containing one or more unlisted and sometimes banned drugs. Now, the interesting thing about that is recently I heard a report where the amount of lead in baby formula was going to be reduced, or the allowed amount of lead that is in baby formula. Yeah, we know there are some heavy metals that are important to a healthy body, but when you can reduce the amount of lead in a foundational food source, I'll call it that, because you're talking about the beginning of life. And yeah, I'm going off on a tangent here for a moment, but bear with me. You're talking about something that is in the food that you're giving to an infant. This is the beginning stages of what could potentially be a long life. You know that there's something there that could cause problems later on. So much so that you recognize that, hey, we can reduce the amount that we actually put in the formula. The formula is man-made. It was made in a lab. So you can regulate what you put in it. I digress. And I'll leave you with those thoughts. But yeah, supplements. If you're considering using any form of alternative medicine, please talk with your doctor. Self-treating a condition and avoiding or delaying standard care may actually have serious consequences. So keep that in mind. Now, there is a technique or a form of therapy that is sometimes recommended, and it's called myofunctional therapy. And it's a series of exercises that actually may help to improve sleep apnea. And the focal point of these exercises is the tongue. Believe it or not, yes, the tongue. And myofunctional therapy is a program involving exercises to strengthen weak muscles around the airway, including the tongue, face, and mouth. By teaching people how to properly engage their tongue and orofacial muscles, myofunctional therapy helps correct problems with talking, eating, or breathing, especially when used in children. Research has found it may be helpful for improving snoring and sleep apnea. Now, the difference with these two bits of information is that this information about myofunctional therapy is less than a year old. In fact, it's just a few months old. So here we're going to look at how myofunctional therapy works and some exercises that are involved and how it might help sleep apnea. Now, it involves using specific exercises that target the facial muscles used to chew and swallow. And these exercises strengthen the tongue. Now, of course, this is healthy love, so I know that some minds have gone off on tangents, but stay with me. All right? The oropharynx is a part of the body that includes the mouth and throat. In simple terms, it is a tube lined with muscular tissues. These muscles help us to eat, talk, and breathe. They also help to keep the airway open, especially during sleep. When the muscles of the oropharynx are weak, they may disrupt the flow of air and snoring may ensue. If they let the tube collapse, the airway becomes blocked. This happens during sleep apnea. Now, moreover, a weak or floppy tongue may fall back into the throat and create an obstruction. Hence the obstructive apnea. You see how that works? Now, myofunctional therapy includes exercises that are meant to improve the strength of the muscles within the oropharynx, including the tongue, and it helps to reinforce a proper position of the tongue within the mouth. Sleep specialists use myofunctional therapy to improve breathing problems during sleep, especially in children. And it is used by dentists and orthodontists concerned about the movement of teeth that occurs when the tongue pushes against the teeth. The tongue normally rests with its tip placed against the hard plate, just behind the teeth. Myofunctional therapy may be an attractive alternative treatment for sleep apnea. And there is some evidence that it can decrease sleep apnea severity. Research demonstrated a decrease in apnea in the apnea hypopnea index from 24.5 to 12.3, dropping severity from a moderate to a mild level. It may also decrease snoring and daytime sleepiness. Now, fortunately, the treatment is non-invasive, inexpensive, and has no major risks. Have you heard of it? This is probably why you haven't. It may be an attractive alternative to other therapies for sleep apnea. For example, you may want to avoid the use of continuous positive airway pressure, or your CPAP, or even surgery. In addition, the therapy has been used in other conditions beyond sleep apnea. It may benefit those who suffer from a variety of ailments, which include headaches, gastroesophageal gastro GERD. Gastroesophageal reflux or esophageal. Some people pronounce it different. So it's the combination of what happens with the gastric juices and the esophagus. So gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD, or simply put, heartburn. It can help with TMJ pain, the temporomandibular joint pain. It can help with neck pain, can help with thumb sucking, it can help with nail biting. And rather than turning to the use of medications that may have side effects, myofunctional therapy relies on exercises that have few risks and may be quite beneficial. So, what happens with these exercises? Well, they are used with children who are 6 years and older. And, of course, as adults, we're older than 6. So, hey, it could be very helpful to us adults too. The therapy can be done at home or anywhere, whether you're out on the road, driving along, going to work, whatever. But some of these exercises can attract undesirable attention. So you might want to be a little bit careful with how you go about dealing with it or how you go about using it. You may wish to speak with your healthcare provider about the appropriateness of using the exercises, as they may be difficult for people who have short frenulums. So this is the tissue that connects the tongue to the floor of the mouth. Real quick, the exercises should be repeated 10 times, and ideally the entire set should be done at least 4 times a day. Total of about 45 minutes each day should be devoted to this type of therapy. And it should be performed daily, for at least 2 years to have the maximum benefit. So it is one of those things that you have to stick with it for an extended period of time. It's myofunctional therapy. Exercise 1 is push up the tongue. And this is where you place the tip of your tongue against the hard plate or hard palate on the roof of the mouth, just behind the top teeth. And you push upwards and you hold it for 5 seconds. And you repeat that exercise 10 times. Exercise 2 is to touch nose, where you're not using your finger to touch your nose, but you're sticking out your tongue and using the tip to try to touch your nose. And you hold that there for 10 seconds. Then you relax. That one you repeat for 10 times also. Then you do the touch chin, which is the same action with your tongue, except you try to lick the bottom of your chin. And you hold that for 10 seconds, then you relax, and you repeat that 10 times. Then there's a push tongue left. This is where you stick your tongue out and move it as far as you can to the left, and you hold it there for 10 seconds. Then relax. You repeat that for 10 seconds. Repeat that 10 times. Then you do the opposite, the push tongue right. Then you do the roll tongue. That is well, not that you do it next, but exercise 6 is the roll tongue, where you roll your tongue by folding the edges toward the middle, lengthwise. Now, not everyone can do this, as I had learned that back in high school, that not everybody can roll their tongue so that it looks like the end of a taco shell. But if you can, go ahead and do it. You stick it out as far as you can while keeping it folded, and hold that for 10 seconds, and then you relax, and you repeat that 10 times. Exercise 7 is click the tongue. You make a loud clicking sound with the tongue against the roof of the mouth. You do that for 15 seconds and you repeat that 10 times. It's like doing this. And some people have fun doing it. I used to do it a lot as a child, funny enough. I used to walk home from primary school, and as I did it, it's one of the things that I would do. No real reason why I did it, I just enjoyed doing it. Exercise 8 is push the tongue against a spoon. Now, you might think this is a little bit crazy, but when you hear it explained, you might get a better idea. So push the tip of your tongue firmly against the spoon, held in front of your lips for 10 seconds. Keep the tongue straight and don't let it point downward. Repeat that 10 times. 10 seconds pushing against the spoon. Then hold a spoon is exercise 9. What you want to do in this exercise is to place the handle of a metal spoon between your lips and hold it in place with only your lips for 10 seconds. Do not place the handle between your teeth. Try to keep it parallel to the floor. As your strength improves, you can place a small object on the spoon for added weight. Well, in this case, the small object is like a cube of sugar. So don't start going crazy with your creativity, all right? Repeat that exercise 10 times. Exercise 10 is hold a button. You're not going to hold a button in your hand because anybody can do that. And what good is that going to do to the muscles in your mouth and face? None. For children and adults who are not at risk of swallowing a button, tie one to a piece of string, at least 10 centimeters in length. Place the button between the teeth and lips. Purse your lips lightly and pull on the string, not letting it slip out. And pull for 10 seconds and then relax. And you repeat that exercise 10 times. For added difficulty, place the button flat between the lips. So now you eliminate the teeth. And you're just using your lips to hold the button. Now, these exercises, all of them, you can do in the comfort of your home. But if you're going to be doing these exercises and as it's recommended, you're doing them 4 times a day. That was a recommendation, right? Let me go back to recommendation so that you can all hear it again. And I don't want to misquote them, right? Where is it? These exercises should be done on average 45 minutes a day. So you're doing it 4 times a day. And, well, the regimen includes the 10 exercises that I just gave you. Push up the tongue, touch nose, touch chin, push right, push left. What did I leave out? Touch nose, touch chin, left, right, roll the tongue, click the tongue, push against the spoon, hold a spoon, and hold a button. All 10 exercises, 4 times a day, and you're trying to get a total of 45 minutes per day in with doing this exercise. So you can do it in the morning when you get up. You can do it when you take a break at work. You can do it at lunchtime. And you can do it when you get home. Or any combination of it, but get 45 minutes in. And this could make the world of a difference. So I'm thinking some of these exercises really are attention grabbers. Because people seeing you sticking your tongue out are probably going to be starting to think, wait, are they sticking their tongue out at me? What are they doing? Are they trying to be seductive? They're trying to be sexy? What's going on here? Do they have a condition? Well, yes, they do have a condition, and they're doing exercises in order to aid this condition. And maybe you should ask a question and possibly learn some of these exercises too, so that you don't end up having this condition. How about that? You know, it could work. It could help. And it could potentially save a life. Because when you're talking about the decrease in quality of sleep, you're talking about a total interruption of quality of life, or degradation of a quality of life. Because we hear Marva talk about it all the time, Nurse Marva Riley, eat, sleep, meditate being the foundation of the path to good health. You want to eat right, you want to get good quality sleep, and you want to toss in some meditation in the mix. In other words, be right spiritually. And so, if you're going to adopt those philosophies, if you're going to put those things into place, then quality sleep is important. And if you're waking up at random times in the night because you're not breathing right, you may not know that you're waking up, but your brain is sending a signal to say, hey, listen, you're not breathing right, do something different. And then you can go back to sleep. So you may not be fully awake when you've done this thing. It may be a cough. It may be getting up to go use a bathroom. It may be anything. But yes, you're fully awake at that point, hopefully. But your sleep is interrupted. And I know I'm going to start doing some of these exercises because I want to see if it affects my quality of sleep. I have found that I have gotten up some days feeling tired. I've found that I've gotten up with the back of my throat feeling agitated. Yeah, I'm going to go to my doctor and I'm going to go check it out. Which is one of the things that led me to look at this topic tonight. You can do the same. What does it take? A few hours out of a day. Doing the exercises takes 45 minutes out of a complete day. Not even 1 hour out of the 24 that you're going to be going through. Yeah, you're going to be spending about, what? A good 24 minus 8 is what? 16? A good 16 hours of wake time. So, at minimum, if you want to get a full 8 hours sleep, you have 16 hours of wake time. You can get 45 minutes out of that and go ahead and do these exercises. Because, trust me, if there's an option, if there's a way that you can effectively improve your quality of sleep, you're effectively improving the quality of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And as Joanna Marie says as we kick off musical therapy, you only have one life to live.
I'll play it my way, and if I make mistakes, it's my own heart that breaks. I've got to find my way of life, myself alone. I only have one life to live. I only have one love to give. No matter what he asks, he
Good night, Pat. Pleasant dreams to you.
I don't know what changes time may bring, but right now, today's the important day. Together, come what may, we'll welcome each new day. With love to be your guiding light, to make it through. Tomorrow, I only have one life to live. I'm gonna live. I only have one love to give. I'm gonna give it. No matter what he is, he touches me and makes me his. Oh yeah, now we're in love. I only have one life to live. I'm gonna live. I only have one love to give. I'm gonna give it. No matter what he is, he touches me and makes me his. Oh yeah, I know him. I remember the signs of springtime.
This is the sound of Kashiv Lindo.
They were birds
His brand new single,
buzzing.
The Coldest Day of My Life. Coldest days.
Some of us play, oh yeah, yeah, and some of us cry. Hear me talking to you, can't you see? Oh, can't you see the tears in my eyes? Coldest days of my life. They were the coldest days of my life. I had to run for cover, yeah, the cold days of my life. I thought there was no one, Now what I had dreamed of, I thought it was him. Oh, well, 10 feet tall. Oh, I was riding so high, with eyes of a child, shining so bright. Yes, they were. Coldest days of my life. They were the coldest days of my life. I had to run for cover, yeah, yeah. Coldest days of my life. I thought there was no one, please.
This is the sound of Maurice Gregory. A track called What a Feeling.
I'm savoring each moment, oh my darling. I feel I'm levitating while I'm falling. Oh, I keep falling for you.
I heard from a little birdie that Maurice has new music coming.
Truth, I've never felt nothing like this.
You gotta look out for that.
This feeling keeps growing stronger. I know you waited for a long time. I waited for you to be mine. What a feeling, what a feeling. Hey, I know you waited for a long time. I waited for you to be mine. What a feeling, what a feeling. Oh gosh, it's basic. When you find the one for you, embrace it. Cause time is of the essence, so don't waste it. You shouldn't waste it. No more. No more. Truth, I've never felt nothing like this. Might just losing myself. This feeling keeps growing strong. Never find nobody like you, like you, like you. What a feeling, what a feeling. Never find nobody like you. I know you waited for a long time. I waited for you to be mine. What a feeling, what a feeling. Never find nobody like you.
I just want to remind you guys real quick, or tell you about this real quick. I haven't told you, well, yes, I've told you about this once before. And I didn't share this image of it, but I told you all about the 780 390 challenge. And it's a real simple enough challenge. The concept is to save some money each month that would, at the end of the year, allow you to have saved $780 or $390. And you do so by, in the first month, saving $10. And each month after that, you add $10 to the amount that you saved the previous month. So in January, you save $10. In February, you save $20. And you keep going. And when you get to December, in December, you would save or put away $120. When you combine all of that, then you would have ended up saving $780 for the month, for the year, sorry. And that is the 780 aspect of the challenge. The 390 aspect is doing half of that. So you save, instead of doing $10, you do $5. Simple enough challenge, and this is monthly. So if you can't do the $10, do the $5. The important thing is that you stick with it and you take it right through the year. Is that something that you think you can do? I call it the 780-390 challenge. I'm doing it. I'm encouraging you and inviting you to do it along with me. The 780-390 challenge. Are you up for it? I hope you are. The sound of the Twiggerific one in the background. The track is called Love Lost.
You have to prove you are the man and nobody can prove you. Like them are your mother. Either you don't give a damn or you just don't know how to treat a good woman. That she gave you the book. Now you act like you're shocked and you're so victimized. Oh, the move make you looking at yourself, boy. It should open up your eyes. You shouldn't do that. It's all going crazy.
to you say you shouldn't do that.
You should be mad.
Yeah, that's how you end up with the love lost.
You shouldn't do that. She was out that door. Now it's too late. Don't have free love like before.
This is on a Diamond Leah. It's called Who You Love.
I look for love in all the wrong places. Fear smiling all the wrong faces. Baby, we're like an acid makeup. Ooh, you are cheating and no liquor. No make no man call it, no make no girl call it. Them push you to the limit, and when you reach the limit, somebody can press a trigger. You better choose yourself, choose your health, get some help. The better player, them need the bench. Make it make sense. Ooh, you love. Choose. Ooh, takes two to love, baby. You I look for love in all the wrong places. Fear smiling all the wrong faces, baby. Love like innocent men, like innocent men. Red flags and blue. Not all trees are fruit, but all trees are root. You can't hide real pain, but you can try to hide the bruise. Now relationship and abuse. Fall in love, but don't be a fool. Even make it in bed with unfaithfulness. Try use boots. Ooh, you love, you better choose. I look for love in all the wrong places. Fear smiling all the wrong faces. Baby, like you don't see me. Ooh, watch chasing on no liquor. No make no man call you, no make no girl call you. Push you to the limit, and when the beat you limit. Oh yeah. Somebody press that trigger. I know
someone is broke your heart before. Then turn around and walk out that door.
This is the son of Mr. Ed Robinson.
Said he'll be back to hold you tight.
A track called I'm Not That Guy.
Throughout the night, but all it was sexual healing. And now you got this lonesome feeling. Baby, I'm not the guy.
This is Ed's latest single.
No, I'm not the guy. Come and give my love a try. I'm not the guy. I'm not the kind of man. No, I'm not the guy.
Pull up that DJ Kevin Sentinel, say that.
Oh, lady. No, lady, no.
I got you, Sentinel.
Someone is broke your heart before, then turn around and walk out that door. Boy, said he'll be back to hold you tight and keep you warm throughout the night. But all it was sexual healing, and now you got this lonesome. You turn away from me, no, baby. I need you, girl, can't you see? Yeah. Lady, yes, I know you're a priceless treasure. To me, you're more than the Queen of Sheba. Baby, can't you see? I need you here with me. The love I had can't measure. I leave
Just believe I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that's gonna lead you astray. Well,
still you never ever go
that's relative.
to be as
I do want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight, though.
they'll promise you.
And I encourage you to stick around and share the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew with everyone you know. Remember, tonight we talked about sleep apnea. For those exercises that we gave at the end, we can go back and check out the rebroadcast if you missed it.
And walk out that door.
But it's all available. I searched for it online. You can find it too. But use up this information right here, yeah?
And keep you warm.
As we part company, remember to look out for members of your community. Your community is not just a development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide to those that you pass on the bus, the plane, the boat, or the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive. These are members of your community to do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. Thank you to all my affiliates. Thank you to all my sponsors. Thank you to you all for making this the best part of the broadcast. It's the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. I'll catch you live again on Saturday for the Saturday Stew on Reggae Global Radio. Tune in to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Tune in to kevinstew.com. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you all a good night. Take care, be good. If you can't be good at it. I'm out of here. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The night shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.